The year was 1898, and the British were in the midst of constructing a railway bridge over the Tsavo River in what is now Kenya. This ambitious project was being led by Lieutenant Colonel John Henry Patterson and required a massive workforce of local laborers. At its peak, Patterson had over 4,000 men working day and night to complete the bridge. Despite the challenges of the rugged landscape and scorching heat, work on the bridge was progressing steadily. That is, until the night of March 27th, when the first railway worker was dragged from his tent and devoured by two monstrous, manless male lions. These lions were unlike any Patterson had ever heard about. They were larger, more ferocious, and bolder than a typical lion. While most lions avoid humans, these beasts began actively stalking and hunting Patterson's workers as their preferred prey. They would come at night under the cover of darkness and pull victims from their tents with powerful jaws, often devouring them completely while the horrified camp looked on helplessly. The chilling roar of the lions and the screams of the men echoed through the camps night after night. As more and more workers were killed, dread swept through the railway camps and many laborers understandably left, halting construction completely. Patterson knew he had to act, so he ordered workers to build protective barriers around the camps and acquired additional rifles to try and bring down the man-eaters. However, the lions were extremely cunning and evaded most attempts to shoot them. Night after night, Patterson would lay in wait, hoping to ambush the beasts. He would listen for the screams of men, followed by the guttural growls of feeding lions. But whenever he went to investigate, the lions would slip back into the bush, often leaving nothing but scattered bloody remains. It seemed nothing could stop the reign of terror. After weeks of attacks and several failed attempts to shoot the man-eaters, Patterson decided to set up a strategic ambush at one of the lions' favorite hunting grounds, a rickety rail trestle bridge over a ravine. He had a hunch the darker recesses below the bridge would appeal to these killers who relied on concealment. So he placed armed guards at each end of the long bridge and secured a spot at the middle where he tucked himself into a small wooden crate. A hole was carved out just large enough to poke his rifle barrel through. If his plan worked, the lions would walk right into his trap, unaware of the hidden gunman. Patterson waited silently in the blackness of night, ready to fire upon one of the great beasts. Hours passed without activity and Patterson fought off sleep. Just as he started to doubt himself, he detected stirring the slight jostling of the wooden planks. The lions were ascending the bridge. Heart racing, Patterson steadied his shaking hands, ready to take aim at whatever emerged from the shadows. A large shape materialized. It was one of the infamous man-eaters. The lion crept closer, completely oblivious to Patterson, until the crack of his rifle shattered the silence. The bullet found its mark, and the lion crashed to the bridge, writhing and snarling in agony. One of the deadly hunters had been felled. Patterson knew the second man-eater was likely nearby and would soon come investigating. He quickly reloaded his rifle and resumed his post. Sure enough, the second lion soon ascended the bridge, stalking low to the wooden planks. Patterson allowed it to approach the fallen body before firing. The bullet struck the lion's shoulder and it spun around in pain and shock. Quickly chambering another round, Patterson fired again, this time hitting the chest. With a terrible roar, the second man-eater toppled from the bridge and lay motionless. At last, the reign of terror was over. Patterson had rid Tsavo of the two monstrous lions responsible for so much death and suffering. His bold ambush had succeeded. Counting the remains recovered and skulls found in the man-eater's den, Patterson estimated the lions had killed and eaten around 135 workers over just 9 months. The locals believed the spirits of the dead laborers possessed the lions, driving them to demonic, man-eating madness. Patterson rejected the supernatural explanations but could not deny the unmatched ferocity and bloodlust of the Tsavo man-eaters. Their freakish nature made them infamous. After photographing the lions' corpses as proof of their monumental size and lack of mane, Patterson had both beasts skinned and preserved. To this day, their massive skulls, stunning pelts, and claws are on display in the Field Museum of Natural History in Chicago for the world to see. Despite being killed over 120 years ago, the Tsavo man-eaters remain immortalized due to their staggering consumption of human life and the lasting mystery around what drove them to become such aberrant killers. Their dark legend reminds us of the savage capabilities lying within even the most beautiful beasts.